Ever feel like Airbnb is just an app you use twice a year when you're booking a vacation? Well, Brian Chesky wants to change that because apparently just planning a summer trip isn't enough. He wants Airbnb to be something you use all the time, actually on a weekly basis. So what's next? Airbnb for dry cleaning? Well, maybe not yet, but let's break down what's really happening here with Airbnb new strategy for 2025 and beyond. So, let's start with the big picture. Airbnb isn't just about short term rentals anymore. We put that on the side. It's evolving into what Brian Chesky calls a travel and living brand. I called it a lifestyle brand over the last years, where everyone wants to go, but they call it a travel and living brand. It doesn't mean Airbnb is moving away from vacation rentals. In fact, they're investing more in their core business. But the bigger goal is to get travelers and hosts to engage with Airbnb more often. And not just travelers, anyone, even in their own city, should turn to Airbnb and book something and spend money on Airbnb, right? Um, Chesky put it this way: we're going to really start with adjacent to travel. A traveler booking a home, what else would they want to book? And we offer these other experiences and services that could potentially bring in new guests that then book more homes on Airbnb. That's the vision. So, how are they going to make this happen? Well, there are three main ways. First, they will add new services that make trips smoother and more complete. Then, they will also turn to hosts, right, and give them better tools so they can list more often and manage properties more efficiently. And then they will expand beyond traditional home rentals with new types of supply. We know that they're already offering apartments, right, with the Airbnb friendly buildings for tenants. So how about co-working spaces, car sharing, gym passes, and to make it all work, Airbnb is taking a page from Amazon's playbook, starting with services that fit naturally with travel, then expanding step by step. So let's focus on the expansion in short-term rental business. So um, for short-term rental business, Airbnb is operating in over 220 countries and regions. But here's the thing: 70%, 70% of the bookings still come from just five countries: the US, the UK, Canada, France, and Australia. These markets have been Airbnb's stronghold for years, but growth in these regions is slowing down. Meanwhile, Airbnb's expansion markets, places like Brazil, Mexico, Germany, Italy, Spain, Japan, South Korea, China, and India, are growing much faster. In Q4 2024, the number of nights booked on in Airbnb's expansion markets grew at more than twice the rate of its five core markets. That's significant. And Chesky has been clear about why they're focusing on these new markets. He said, each of our targeted markets, we have to factor in where the market is, the level of awareness and consideration we have among local travelers, and the level of product optimizations we need to make. Translations: um, growing Airbnb in new countries takes work. It means building brand awareness, onboarding new hosts, and making sure the platform actually works for local travelers. And all of that costs money. So, what does it mean for hosts and vacation rental managers? If you operate in the US, UK, Canada, France, or Australia, Airbnb will remain strong, but expect more competition as they grow in other regions. If you're in Latin America, Europe, Asia Pacific, Airbnb is actively increasing demand, which could mean more bookings for you. So that's the core business. Airbnb is making sure it keeps growing in key regions. Right. And it's important because Airbnb will need that money to fuel its growth in other markets. And I'm talking about other verticals. But Airbnb doesn't want just more bookings, right? They want guests using Airbnb for more things, which brings us to the expansion beyond stays with more travel-related services. So next big piece is that Airbnb wants guests to use the platform more often, not just when they need a place to stay, but for the whole trip experience. And they've learned from their past mistakes. Remember the first version of Airbnb experiences? It didn't take off the way they hoped. And Chesky himself admitted why. He said, for the first time around, I don't think we integrated experiences really well into the product. If you go on Airbnb.com or the app right now, it's pretty hard to find them. And that's the key learning. Experiences 1.0 failed because they were treated like a separate product. People had to go looking for them and didn't fit naturally into the booking flow. So now, Airbnb is taking a different approach. Instead of making guests search for extra services, Airbnb will integrate them directly into the booking process. That means guests won't have to go looking for things like, no clue, right? It was not very precise, but imagine pre-booked transportations like airport transfers or rental cars or groceries delivered before they arrive or luggage storage options or experiences that actually match the stay, right? If you're booking a cabin, maybe an Airbnb suggests a guiding hiking tour. This way, guests don't just book a place and forget Airbnb until check-in, right? They keep interacting with the platform before, during, and even after the trip. So the idea is basically to really find the right timing during the guest journey to push things at the right moment. So what about supply, right? Airbnb isn't just expanding into guest services, right? You also want to expand with the type of offers on its platform. So, of course, we know already they offer long stays, right? And even apartments, like I said, right? Um, Airbnb friendly apartments, for example, are available in the US and UK, and they will go into Latin America in 2025. They already have 200,000 units in the US, right? Airbnb friendly apartments, that's for tenants, right? It's for 1, 2, 3 years. That's not for a few days. Um, and I don't know what kind of other services they will offer next, right? And that's why the Airbnb Summer 2025 release coming up in May would be interesting. But imagine they hinted about at car sharing. And car sharing is interesting because if you're traveling, you may need a car. But even if you in your own city don't have a car, you may be interested in car sharing services, right? Um, so that could be a good opportunity for for price labs. Great. That could be a good opportunity for Airbnb. So last, why is Airbnb talking about Amazon all the time to investors? Well, with all these expansion plans, Airbnb is preparing investors for increased costs, increased investment. And to explain why it's worth it, they're comparing themselves to Amazon. Here's how Chesky framed it. Every new business we launch should stand on its own, but also make the core business stronger. Amazon started with books, then they moved into DVDs, electronics, cloud services. Airbnb is following the same logic. What does it mean for hosts and property managers? Well, expect Airbnb to push aggressively into long-term stays and other kind of supply. Hosts may see more business opportunities if Airbnb launches a marketplace for host services. Long term, Airbnb wants people using the platform regularly, not just for occasional bookings. What I mean here is that think about what Amazon is doing. On Amazon, if you're a seller on Amazon, Amazon is able to sell you services, right? And they can even, with a cloud, they can host your website, for example, or host your app, your services. So there's a lot of things they can sell you. So same thing. I've been thinking about a lot of things they can sell you from, software, revenue management software, a lot of stuff they could sell you as well. So you can see how they can really enable people to build businesses on top of the Airbnb platform and have them take a cut of this, which is fantastic because in the end, there's not much work for them to do, but and then they get a good margins on this. So closing thoughts. Let's wrap it up. Airbnb is expanding into new markets, geography. I'm talking new markets. It's going to cost them money. They're adding more services, so guests will use Airbnb more often, will cost them money. And hosts may soon get more tools to manage their listings. That should normally increase the number of times a listing is available, should increase availability, should increase the number of booking. That should bring in some money. And Airbnb is playing the long game, right? Just like Amazon did. So, big question, will this work? Or is Airbnb stretching itself too thin? It's fascinating. I think it's a fascinating move to follow. And let's just discuss that.